We are going to cover the Japanese Grand Prix. We're going to talk about how Alex is absolutely destroying me in our league, in our little match that we have. I'm going to make Alex see if he can guess questions about the Japanese Grand Prix like I always do. And we're
Fiddlesticks.
about to have a good show here. Alex, give me overall Singapore Grand Prix weekend. If you had to grade it, what are you giving it?
Am I going out of 10 or am I going out of like America's grading system kind of going?
What was American grading system beat? A, B, C, D?
Like A, B, C,
Yeah.
D, I guess like 90s, like stuff
Oh.
like that. All right, I'll go out of 10. I'll go out of 10. I'd give it
Okay.
like an 8, 8.5.
Okay. Yeah. Um, do you do you think it should stay on the calendar?
The the track itself, again, it's just a touchy thing with Monaco. Again, obviously it's not as historic as Monaco, but the track
Mhm.
itself, obviously, like it is some reworking with the rearranging of the track a little bit, and I think it did kind of help a little bit, like we saw some. I do think I remember there was a vote going into the weekend for racing, and it was the fourth DRS zone towards the end, and I think that should have been implemented to be fair, but I
Yeah.
also understand not implementing it. I think the cars look. I love nighttime races, so it's hard for me to just like Monaco. I'm sorry, Monaco hasn't looked. I think we've been racing in gray clouds in Monaco for the past like 3 years.
Yeah.
We haven't had like a sunny Monaco in a minute. I would say I'm more okay with Singapore staying on the track than I am Monaco.
Okay. I can agree with that. But that also sounds to me like you would. If I had to say
I
get rid of
would
two.
if I had to, yeah, if I had all the funds and all, if I was controlling F1, yeah, I would probably get rid of quite a bit of street racing.
Okay, I understand. I got you. We're in the same boat about that, and we'll get into that. Um, what also makes these night races interesting, as I was just dabbling into watching some practice this week. I didn't watch all the practice, but when you have a night race, and I know this is this probably applies to all
Practice.
weekends, but night race is more. You have you have one of your practices is like very
Day.
much not in the same like
Mm-hmm.
scene that your race is going to be. It's in a, it's earlier. It's so it's just funny when they say like they're they do some work on the cars and then they're like, well, we'll figure out what's the real pace is later when I don't know. I just find it interesting. Night racing really
It's
brings out
definitely
the difference.
well, it definitely does make a difference too, because like the temperature of the track's gonna obviously drastically change, and the practices to the race itself, like day to night, um, and stuff like that. And again, also like the glare to the visors, I'm sure that definitely affects some people here and there. Like I remember during the race, I think Lewis is scratching like his eye or his nose or something, and you see his finger going into his visor. But I do
Mm-hmm.
know, I've also do know that drivers change their visors a lot to
Yeah.
during these night races and sunny races and stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah. So totally. It's just an interesting little thing that I didn't like fully, I guess, like think about for a second until I heard one of the guys say it. I guess it's what makes a night race more interesting. So um,
I think the cars just look beautiful in the night races too. Like the lights really make them pop more, especially with
yeah,
some of the libraries they have going on this weekend.
I saw some old Formula One cars, and I know they're always pushing the boundaries of technology, but like, man, some of those cars were ugly, and the
Yeah,
cars are just. It seems like they're just getting prettier, and I don't. I'm sure everyone says that, and like when we maybe if we look back in the cars in 15 years, we'll think these cars are ugly compared to what they have then. Um,
yeah,
I don't know, but they're kind of pretty right now. They're popping. Lando Norris's helmet was crazy.
yeah. It
I don't know
looks
if you
sick.
saw that. You are the livery judge on this show. I kind of sit back. So we talked about it in text, but why don't you tell the people you feeling McLaren's livery change or what?
Yeah, I liked it. Definitely. I still and the Triple Crown, like I told you, to me is the best one they put out so far.
Mm-hmm.
And then Williams with the golf one. I think that this is the question I'm going to ask you: which golf library do you prefer? That McLaren one they did in Monaco, I think it was 2 years ago, or the Williams one?
I'm gonna say I don't even really remember the Monaco 2 years ago, but I'm gonna say that one because I did not a big
Really?
fan of the baby blues.
Oh, I love it. See, I prefer the Williams. It's gonna sound so dumb because this is more like Williams' like downfall is they don't have enough money. So I like the no sticker look that they got going on with the whole Gulf livery.
Yep, that makes sense. Okay, I'm looking at it now. Oh, I don't know. Aren't they kind of similar? They're both
They are.
yellow.
They're definitely very similar. I think the papaya is what stands out a little bit more different to me. Like the orange is a little bit different. I think I could be wrong, but I like the Williams one. I also think the Williams car just looks better right now.
Yeah, Williams has a lot of good things going for them. They didn't have a great race weekend this week, but
No,
they have good things going for them. Um, yeah, so I mean, not much to talk about. I feel like in the terms of
practices.
practice. Um,
I mean, a little bit. Just the Red Bull, you notice they were struggling all weekend. That rear end stability, like Max was complaining about it all weekend, and the lizard that Alonso killed.
oh yes, yes, Alex, great stuff. And what, dude? Like okay, so if you go back and watch races, I forget what year. I'm coming back from 2014 onwards. Had to be like 14 or 15. A guy walked on the racetrack during the Singapore Grand Prix. Like he physically walked on the racetrack
Did
out. Like,
not know that during
dude,
the
yeah,
race, like not during
yes.
practice, during the race. That's
No, no, no,
was he
no.
protesting
During
or
the
just like
race, during the race, and not like on the actual racetrack. Okay, um,
Jesus?
crazy. And then I think there was something else happened there. Lizards, like the Singapore Grand Prix, just has the craziest stuff happen
Jesus.
to it. It seems like I would love, you know what? Like we're probably gonna forget this because this is what I do. I forget, but this would be like a good off week topic if we were to go over like the craziest like animal people like non racing situations.
Yeah.
Um, dude, those lizards are big over there, bro,
Yeah.
and they're just
Was it the
dude.
same one? Do we know that? Because I could have sworn Max goes like, "Yep, the lizard's back, but it's bigger this time," and it might have been a different lizard. I don't know.
Oh my god. How about what is it? Was it Max's? Was it GP that said Godzilla had a baby or
Yeah,
something?
Godzilla had a baby. Yeah, OGP.
Bro, let's not trip either. Like we're not like city boys, but like, we're also not living out in the
We're so,
country here.
no,
Those
yeah.
those lizards were in the middle of the city.
That's crazy. See, like
Yeah.
when I went to PR to see like family and stuff, I saw farmland out there. My family's from, and we get some lizards that are about that size. They're pretty big.
Yeah. I mean, I don't they
But
don't really mess with you, right? They're just whatever, but
no, they're like kind of like the ones you see in Florida, just kind of just skittish and stuff like that, like tropical areas like that. But
yeah.
that thing was huge.
It was very big. Yeah, man, lizards, people, Singapore. I want to take it off the map, but it doesn't disappoint. It's also one of our tracks with a Ferris wheel. Um,
Yeah,
that's like I didn't know why that's such a thing at racetracks. I think it's
I
the
don't
third
know.
racetrack with a Ferris wheel.
That sounds about
Silverstone
right.
and Japan this week also have Ferris wheels.
Hmm.
So, just a little Ferris wheel fun fact for you. All right, let's. You know what? Sorry, but go back to what you said about Red Bull showing weakness in practice. Absolutely right. But
Hmm.
I feel like I'm going undefeated this year. They earned the benefit of the doubt that it's Red Bull. They
Oh, of
could,
course.
yeah.
Like it
So
was almost like what is it? Sandbagging? Is that the
yeah,
term they use? Right? Yeah. I was
mm-hmm.
like, I don't think they were sandbagging per se. I think there was definitely some rear instability, but I also think that Max tends to complain a lot more during practice than he does during the rest of the weekend because he
Yeah,
wants to make the car perfect, like any driver should. But
yep,
so I took it with a grain of salt. But at the same time, like you could definitely see that rear end was just not working for both drivers.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, it's funny. It was just they get to a point you're so good, you're just like, oh well, they'll fix it. They can fix anything.
Yeah.
Even last week, they didn't qualify first, so but they had the absolute fastest race pace car at Monza. So
Mm,
you're like they're even if they don't qualify one, they'll still probably win the race. But obviously, we'll talk about that here as we get into qualifying. Like we always do, we're going to talk about the bottom five. 16th Valtteri Bottas, 17th Oscar Piastri, 18th Sargent, 19th Joe Guanyu, and then 20th with the big crash, Lance Stroll.
Stroll.
Poof, dude, did you see his head go back and forth when he hit the wall?
Yeah, that was scary.
Oh
I
man,
I know the cars aren't designed to break the way they broke that Aston Martin broke, but
yep.
yeah, that was a scary situation, and I was glad he didn't race. And I know it
Mm.
sounds crazy,
Nope,
and I know
nope.
I shit talk Lance more than anybody, but nobody wants to see somebody get into a serious crash like that. You know, Thank
Yeah,
God he's all right.
yeah. Um, I mean, I know from myself, only one time did I get a concussion after a race. Um, I got out of the car and I was fine for probably a couple minutes. I went to shake someone's hand and then like I couldn't find their hand. It was like the vision was starting to get crazy.
Mm,
So you watch Lance get out of his car on his own, will and walk, but like the effects, sometimes take a few minutes to set in.
yeah,
And I'm gonna assume he had a concussion. That's what I'm gonna assume. Um, and when you look at some of these racers, I know a lot of NASCAR guys. You look at like guys like Dale Earnhardt Jr. and I think like Kurt Busch a little bit. Like too many concussions, getting back into the race car too fast. It's a dangerous combination. So I'm with you. Sit it out. Um, I don't think they have anything to like gain or lose by not Lance not being in the race. Um, drivers championship wise for him, he's just kind of whatever. Um, constructors, I think they're kind of by themselves
they're
right
like
now.
fifth right
So
now. I don't think
yeah,
anybody. Yeah, they're kind of stuck where they are.
yeah. So smart move. Um, but that crash did, unfortunately, the names you heard, Oscar Piastri was on a flyer right behind him. Never got that lap in, so he's eliminated in 17th, out of position. Sargent in 18th, probably right in position for him. And then your 16th and 19th are the two Alfa Romeos, which have kind of been lacking speed all year. So no big shockers there, right? That's
Louis,
pretty much
Louis,
straightforward.
Lewis almost got knocked out. That would have been scary, especially with Oscar right there.
Oh yeah,
Because I think Q3 he was like going into Q2. Oh, I'm sorry, in Q1 going into Q2 he was P14 or something like that.
yeah, yeah. He was on a flyer as
Mm-hmm.
well.
And then the crash happened. Yep.
Yeah, they were all jockeying for position like crazy there. Um, and then Q2, we had Yuki Tsunoda in 15th with a DNF. Do you remember what happened?
I
I
didn't know.
forget. I just remember him not coming out of the pits.
Mm, I don't remember. I'm brain farting because it's starting to come back to me. Because like obviously with the shocking news in Q2,
Yeah,
yeah, I wasn't paying too much attention to Yuki.
yeah, no, you understood. Yuki just kind of sat there in 15th. Albon in 14th. Then the shockers here: Sergio Perez in 13th, Pierre Gasly in 12th, and then the biggest shocker, Max Verstappen in 11th. On pure pace, no shenanigans, no, he was on a flyer and there was a red flag, or you know what I mean. Um, that was just
That was a
straight
shocker.
pace. Yeah.
Yep.
Sliding everywhere. Sergio Perez spins out on his last flyer, I believe. Um, and the person that knocks Max Verstappen now is Liam Lawson. It's just this
Crazy.
Liam Lawson thing is nuts. Red Bull sliding around all weekend. I think one of Max's comments in practice was if this was a drifting race, he would win. Man, that car just struggled. I'm gonna bounce around here real quick because I just thought of something. Before this weekend, they cracked down on new regulations on flexible wings
Yeah,
that
the
some of the
flex.
guys
Yeah,
had. Um,
everyone's talking about the Red Bull struggling with because of all this new regulations. I don't want to take too much into it because I still think they're going to be the dominant car come next weekend. Um,
yep,
Shocker,
yeah,
but
it, it's early to say.
yeah,
Um,
it's too early to say that this regulations are really affecting Red Bull that much because the McLaren still look fast, and that's pretty much the Red Bull 2.0.
yeah, and even Toto Wolff said even if it affects Red Bull, they're not going to be X amount and slower. So the conspiracy theorist is saying that this has to do with that. I'm not really sure. I feel like they deserve another week for us to find out.
Yeah,
Um,
they also brought some upgrades. There's no guarantee that those upgrades are working well for them either. Like
yeah,
simulation numbers aren't always what lay out on track.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that's the conspiracy going around, though. Regulation changes came into effect, and Red Bull got much slower this weekend. So, man, Max Verstappen. Oh, what do you think about no penalties for Max for qualifying for impeding?
The impeding. I don't know what happened with the pit stop one. That
Yeah,
I felt was like that one. Maybe something went wrong with the car, or I think they said I think his GP came on the radio and said it was traffic or something, but I didn't
he was
know.
stopped. He was stopped at the end of pit road
Yeah,
to
and
to create a gap.
yeah, so I think that I guess you can let that one slide. The one with Yuki, was it Yuki or was it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
I
Yuki,
think
right? He
it was Yuki
impeded
both
Yuki.
times or something.
Yeah. The one with Yuki, I thought was like a clear like impeding penalty kind of thing. I
Yeah.
just don't. I have the FI is obviously always super shaky at best. What is the impeding penalty? Is it three? Is it three? Is it three spot penalty?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is really getting to that point where I really don't try to side conspiracy theories, but like Max definitely deserved something there, and nothing happened, and he had two very questionable impeding situations, and I just don't know what the FIA is doing with Red Bull. I really don't, because I'm sorry that he deserved at least three. It's not like it was really going to affect him. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. Like he was definitely going to overtake those midfield cars eventually, but like you got to be fair. You got to stick to your guns. You can't just let some guys get away with it and some guys not. It's getting to the point where like Red Bulls get away with quite a bit this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have like a biased, semi-biased opinion, I guess, and a very biased like Instagram Explore page. So it was very much Red Bull deserved a penalty. There was some meme. It was like FIA, and it was like no penalty, Red Bull penalty, and it was like all the other teams. Um, yeah, the impeding looked pretty clear cut. Um, but I don't know. I guess not. I don't know. The conspiracy theorists, like you said, is like, all right, he's already starting 11th. We want to see if he can keep this win streak going for like numbers. So let's not put him back any further. I don't know, but it is what it is. Did you see the clip of Lewis Hamilton when they told him about the impeding penalties and he thought it was him?
No, I did not.
Yeah, just real quick, they were like, yeah, and on the impending penalties, and he's like, me? Like he like did
uh,
one of those, and they were like, no, no, no,
yeah.
and he's like, okay, but it's a funny clip. He's like, what? But so there's that.
I
Let's
mean,
go
let's be
talk.
real here. With the love the FIA has for Lewis, they would have found a way to blame him for something.
True. And we're gonna talk about that more. Lap one incident of the race. I hope Alex went back and
Yes,
watched it.
I did.
All right, good. We'll talk about it when we get there. Let's finish up qualifying though in Q3. Man, Liam Lawson was looking like an absolute killer right now in 10th place. Haas puts two in Q3, which is a big deal. Nico
Mhm.
Hulkenberg in ninth, Esteban Ocon eighth, Fernando Alonso seventh. K Mag finally with the upper hand in qualifying puts it sixth. Hamilton, who looking like he was going to be struggling all weekend, not all weekend, excuse me, but he looked right off the rip slower in qualifying than George, qualified fifth.
Yeah.
Lando does his thing as he always does, puts it in fourth. Leclerc third, George Russell with a great lap in second, and then Carlos Sainz, the weekend of his life began here. He qualifies first. What? Oh, Alex, something. Oh, quick fact. I don't know if you heard. There's no Red Bulls in Q1 for the first time since Russia
Q3.
2018. Q3.
Since Q3, yeah. And yeah,
That's
I
a
did. I did see that.
that's an
That's insane.
incredible stat.
Yeah. I mean, they're consistent. You got to give it to their engineering and their pit wall team and everything.
Yeah, like not a
Whether
rain
you agree
race,
with how, no,
not a technical nothing since
yeah,
2018.
they played
Um,
safe. I mean, they played it safe for a long time, just chasing after Mercedes, and then now they have the
yep.
fastest car. They can just kind of do what they want.
Yeah, no, absolutely nuts. What do you think about Haas
I
qualifying?
was I was happy. I was happy for them. Obviously Nico's been getting in there pretty consistently lately. I think he's
Yep.
been in the last three Q3s or something like that. K Mag definitely came out impressed.
Yeah.
But, an American team, and you just expect them to fall back during the race. But
Yeah. Very true.
it's nice to see him in qualifying.
Yeah. Like I said, as the big LH fanboy that I am over here, after practice on Friday, he said it's the best that the cars felt after a Friday this year. He was very happy with the car. I pegged him to win this race because of how they handled in Zandvoort on the five. Clearing be doing right now without Lando Norris. They'd be so screwed. I don't know who
I,
would be in
I
that
mean,
car, but like,
oh, you're saying okay? You're saying without like just Lando in general? Okay, because Oscar,
yeah,
I don't
just
think Oscar,
Lando.
yeah, because Oscar definitely just kind of got shafted with the whole red flag incident, and he
Oh
definitely would have
yeah,
been up
no,
there with
no,
him.
yeah,
But
not that Oscar's letting it down, but just that Lando seems to
yeah,
be that guy.
yeah, he really is. It's just big fan, big reason as to why I was a big fan. I turned to a fan of McLaren is
Yeah,
Lando. Like to me, it was the Lando Danny Rick lineup because I think they're the two most likable people in F1 as a whole.
they are.
Um, And then I wasn't happy with how they handled the whole Danny Rick situation, but like I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. Oscar's a great talent and he's up and coming, and I think he's doing a great job filling in that seat. And I'm happy to see. I would say that, like I said, the number two lineup with the driver lineup. I think I said that in the last podcast we had, and definitely standing behind that statement still. And Lando's doing a phenomenal job though, and he's just a super likable person.
Yeah, it's very clear as to why they signed him to a big contract. You want him to be the cornerstone of your team. Like it's just, you're not gonna get a dude like Hamilton or Max to go down to that team. So like build it up with Lando is absolutely
I'm
the way to go.
curious when his contract up, what he's gonna decide to do though. I think McLaren really has to take some strides forward to at least put him in a car that can genuinely compete for a championship. And if they don't, I wouldn't be surprised to see him lead because there's going to be a lot of teams that want him.
After Lewis wins his ninth, I'd be more than happy to see Lando win a championship. But man, hold up here. My boy Alex, all year, put some damn respect on Carlos Sainz's name. He's been telling everyone that every single week. Get off the Leclerc bandwagon. Get on the Sainz bandwagon. Second week in a row, Sainz delivers with his greatest weekend ever. Starts off with on pole. Bro, have you not been saying that this dude needs some respect? And he puts it on pole.
And I don't want to take anything away from Leclerc. Let me just start that off right away. I think Leclerc is the clear-cut number one driver on that team, and he deserves to be. I think Leclerc is trying to outdrive the car constantly, and he's just obviously just trying to compete with the Red Bulls and stuff week in and week out, and he just can't do it. But Sainz has been consistent. Sainz has been playing it safe. Sainz is a very intelligent driver, and he finally put it all together this weekend because obviously we saw last week. I'm sorry, the last Grand Prix where he qualified P1, but we all know how Ferrari likes to handle strategy, and it's always a disaster. I said it to you when we made our top five lineup through text. If Ferrari can hold this together, I'm hanging out. I picked Sainz as my number one before qualifying, right? I was
I
like,
mean,
he's gonna finish P1.
after practice,
Yeah, after practice, after practice.
but no
Oh,
big
yeah, I'll
deal.
give you that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
all right. But I was like, he's gonna qualify. I just have a feeling Ferrari's gonna put it together this weekend. Just had a feeling.
Yeah.
Although I don't think I had Leclerc in my top five. So
No, and historic. Then there was a little
maybe
controversial year
2019.
where they undercut Seb to make sure he didn't lose a position from behind, and he ended up undercutting Leclerc and then never gave the position back. That was Sebastian's last win. But they've always kind of weirdly I don't know what it. I mean, it's just racing. Sometimes teams sometimes the track is like their own, and I feel like Ferrari has a grip on Singapore for some reason. That's when maybe the luck flows their way, or it just gets all put together. So, no penalties. I don't believe in no changing of the grid order. So, man, they dropped the red lights. We go into the first corner pretty calm. Man, you have Charles Leclerc is the only one on soft tires. Carlos Sainz get away first. Sainz from third gets George Russell into second. Lewis Hamilton, who in my opinion is clearly ahead of Lando Norris on the outside heading into turn one. Lewis Hamilton sees an opportunistic move, I would say, on George Russell that seemed pretty far-fetched, but he went for the outside of George Russell as well. He skirted around the bollock, as they call it, right? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, something like that. Sounds about right.
To rejoin the track. He rejoins the head of George, asks if he needs to give it back. I think that was a no-brainer that he needed to give that one back, right? Like, what are we doing? But, man.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I thought he had Lando clean. Like, if he wouldn't have went for that move on George, like, that wasn't like he overdrove that car. I don't know. I might be too biased, but, like, I thought he was well in control of his car. If he didn't go for George, he would have had that position 1,010%. That's just my opinion. I don't know what you thought, but I watched on board. You know me, I'm on board.
Yeah.
It never looks like he doesn't have control of that car.
Maybe I gotta go the onboard, but I'm gonna have to disagree with you here. Sorry, to be devil's advocate,
but
fine. He might have been a little clear of Lando, but him going off track and then doing that move on George too, just like it was bad. Like he, especially coming in front of George, it just looked really, really, really bad. And from a viewer's perspective, it was just like you got to get that back. So like obviously clear cut, give it back to George. Um, and then Lando's going to argue that too. I mean, definitely affected the race with how the finishing order happened and everything for strategy
Mhm.
and everything. But yeah, I'm sorry. I think you got to give it back and then just try to overtake him the right way. Even me being a big Lewis Hamilton fan, like I'm a McLaren fan, but Lewis Hamilton is
Yeah,
my favorite
no.
driver on the grid.
Listen,
But
that opinion is not alone. I mean, that was Lando's argument, and the argument is that he overdrove it to get Lando and George.
yeah,
But I don't know. It didn't look like that from the onboard. It looked like he had Lando clean under control, and then he like stomped on it, tried to get to the outside of Russell, which that was
yeah,
never going to happen in a million years. Um, yeah, we'll go check out on the onboard, see what you think. But
mhm.
he gives that position back, and then the race kind of settles for the first until the
Safety
safety
car.
car. You have Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton,
Lewis.
all just kind of chilling there. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen makes up a few places, probably up to what, seventh, sixth,
It's
seventh or
something
eighth.
around there, like eighth. I think it was like eighth, yeah, seventh or eighth, like around
Yeah,
there.
Sergio Perez was not passing people in the back of the field. Um,
B13.
yeah, um, Liam Lawson ran a great race around the top 10 all day. The
Mm-hmm.
Haas cars were holding their own there. Um, Safety car comes out. Um,
That was that was that was a questionable call to the FIA. I think they should have called the safety car either a lot earlier or just stuck out into the VHC because even after the safety car did come back in, there was still some debris on the track. So I don't
mm,
understand what took so long there.
yeah, no, I agree. I think sometimes we get a little. If you watch the progression of F1, there is some very sketchy moments back in the day where they would not throw like a caution or a safety car at
Mm,
all, and like people are on the track. And now I feel like it's like let me get a safety car to make this race more interesting sometimes than letting it
yeah,
play out. But all the top guys essentially pitted because they were all on mediums and they transitioned over to hards. The only people
big
that did
turning point
not
of the
pit were
race.
Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, who started on hard tires. Who, to be honest, that that safety car kind of really screwed them. Um,
Yeah,
when
it
you
definitely did.
when you start off on the hard tire, you're looking for your initial run to be longer, and then you either catch a late safety car or you throw on the mediums towards the end of the race, and then you are faster at the end.
They were uh,
Go ahead.
they were definitely banking on a safety car happening
Yeah.
eventually. I think, but I
Yep.
don't think they expected it that early in the race.
Yeah. No, I agree. So the safety car kind of kills them. I forget. The biggest loser in the safety car incident, I think, would be Charles Leclerc. That's safe to say, right? Um, they all pit.
Yeah, because he ended up P5 or P6. Yeah, I think he ended up behind both Mercedes, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So I forget the starting order because the two Red Bulls are in there. But let's just say after a few green flag laps, the Red Bulls were dropping back like crazy. They were basically roadblocks, which was
Mm,
crazy to see for the first time in 2023. They were just in the way. And after they got past your top five running order, at that point was then Carlos Sainz, George Russell, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, and then Charles Leclerc.
arguments of the years,
I would
years
love
and
for
years.
someone to
I just
fact
thought it
check
was a
our
funny. I thought it was a funny. I just thought it was a funny meme happening. Just to see a little bit of a karma. See all
karma.
the fans just laying into Max fans. Like,
I
yeah,
would love,
protect the inside line. He should have pitted.
yeah, I would love for someone to fact check our show and see how many times we go back to Abu Dhabi when the show
Oh,
started after that.
it is always going to be a thing until unless they decide to come to their senses and decide like, hey, we robbed them.
They won't.
But until
Uh,
then, this this will always be a thing. Get used to it
yep. On
because
this
that was
on this show,
heartbreaking to watch.
we will
I
be a
I've
broke.
never felt so like heartbroken for somebody in my entire life.
I'm with you. I'm with you. All right. After this, after this restart, like I said, Red Bulls fall back a couple places. They're just holding on for dear life with those hard tires. This is when I really started hating Singapore. The top five, no one's passing each other. Um,
No, they
Carlos
can't.
Sainz comes on the radio, says, I have another second in hand of lap pace. Bro, what are we doing in racing if we're holding a second back in race pace? And not because I want to elaborate. I want to elaborate here. We're not holding a second like when Max Verstappen is winning by 20 seconds and he's like constantly growing the gap behind him, but he could go faster, but there's no need to. We're
Hmm.
talking like we're talking
They're in
I'm just
DRS
going to go
range.
this pace cuz no one can pass me. Like, dude,
Yeah,
what type of crap is that?
yeah.
Oh
It
my
is.
gosh.
It is definitely. It definitely makes it for a boring race. You gotta sit there and just give kudos to Carlos, who just
Yeah,
making
I
it
mean,
better, the best strategy decision. Because like I think his engineer, I don't know how many laps in the race, but his race engineer comes on. He's like, hey, like you got a gap 0.8 seconds to Lando. I was like, yeah, it's on purpose.
yeah.
At
No,
least
what?
literally just use Lando as a roadblock for the Mercedes.
Yeah, Carlos drove the greatest race. Nothing taken away from Ferrari. Nothing taken away from Carlos. Absolutely not. But like, what are we doing at racetracks where guys are purposely holding in second a lap pace? They're purposely backing up to give the car behind them
DRS.
DRS because they're not worried about getting overtaken on a street course. Like, dude, what are we doing? That's just like
Yeah,
if you're holding
I
pace pivot like that, you should get passed. I just
I mean, like Mercedes that went with the bold strategy call, and I think it definitely worked for the most part. Other than like obviously that last lap incident with uh with George. Um, it's hard to be too upset at George in that situation because I mean, yeah, he has the lack of discipline. It did really hurt them in the constructors championship, him not finishing the
mm-hmm.
race.
Yep.
But as a racing driver, like you got to go for that move. You have, and it sucks that he like and it's just crazy because like Lando clipped the wall too.
Mm.
George just clipped the back end instead of the front end, so he couldn't recover it, and like it sucked. It really did suck to see George go out like that. And then Mercedes, I think they had the pace to win this race. They really, really did, and just to see how it is. But at the same time, it did make like kind of screwed up exciting racing because the
Yep.
last lap, like you really could see the Mercedes were pushing to overtake,
Yeah.
and Lewis was not letting George win that race without a fight either. Like
Yep.
Lewis was gonna push him because Lewis was right on him. I was surprised
Yep.
Lewis didn't crash with him. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. Well, I'm to go back to what Alex was speaking of. Um, they're all the top five are just running in a straight line. At this point, both Red Bulls
Top
have
four.
pitted,
Was it
and
top five?
well,
Was it top five or top four? I think it was the top four.
no, top five. Charles was there.
Oh, Charles. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the last lap.
Yep. So they're running. They're running line astern. Both Red Bulls have pit from, I believe, like sixth and seventh, sixth and eighth place. So there's a little bit of a gap, and a virtual safety car comes out. So Mercedes is the only team that brings both of their guys in. They did. They did a tremendous amount of
Double
work
stop.
throughout the week. What?
Sorry, yeah, go.
Yeah, they did a tremendous amount of work through the weekend to keep a brand new set of mediums. They were the only team with a brand new set of mediums. So they came into pit with a brand new set of mediums. Um, they double stack. They don't lose any position. They lose the one position to Charles Leclerc. So they come back out on track.
Wait, wasn't no?
Carlos,
I think wasn't George P2 when he pitted
sorry, yeah. So they lose. They only lose position to the two.
to Charles and Lando?
Yeah, they don't lose any position to like that big gap that was to Red
Yeah.
Bull and behind them. Um,
Hmm.
so they come out I think like 12 to 14 seconds behind Charles. George comes out 12 to 14 seconds behind Charles. Lewis comes out another 4-ish seconds behind George. Um, and basically it's let's see if these medium tires can catch these guys and have enough to pass them and win the race. And this is what Alex is referring to. Both Mercedes hunt down Leclerc and pass him essentially no problem. They get to Lando with a couple laps to go in the race. George has one solid attempt, I would say, going into that last set of corners. It was
Yeah.
at turn
Hmm.
16,
Yeah.
which Alex said, and he's not wrong. The drivers voted all yes apparently for DRS zone. That the teams voted for no. If that was a DRS zone, that pass is completed.
Oh, all the drivers voted yes.
That's what Lewis said. Lewis said all the drivers
Oh.
voted yes, and the teams voted no.
Mm,
Um, that's a report I read that Lewis said. So I
okay.
don't know if that's factually correct. Um, but the Mercedes come, they make quick work of Charles. In the meantime, Lewis takes that 4 second gap down to George. He takes that gap down. So at the end,
He was
he looked like the
flying.
faster guy.
Yeah, he was definitely the faster car at the end.
Yep. Then both Mercedes they catch Lando in second. This is what we're talking about. Carlos Sainz, he's keeping about a second lead to Lando, a little bit more. When he realizes the Mercedes are in range, he backs up to give Lando DRS to make it harder for the Mercedes to pass Lando. They cannot pass him on the last lap. George Russell hits the wall, breaks the right front. He hits his little wall turning out of the DRS zone, which sent him straight into the other wall. Um,
Yeah,
your
Lando
top
clipped
three,
it too. It was
yeah,
crazy.
yep, but didn't break. So, can you imagine imagine losing two of them? Boom, boom. Oh man, that would have
Like
been
I said,
nuts.
I think Lando clipped the front end. I think what really hurt George is that back end because obviously it just kind of kicked out and he couldn't control the turn in at that point.
Yep. And the race finishes. Carlos Lando and Lewis in third. Charles Leclerc barely holds on to fourth. Max Verstappen with his new tires was coming like crazy. I almost at one point thought he was gonna get him. I think they were line and stern coming across the line. Max brings it home in fifth. Pierre with a solid day in sixth. But let's not forget Esteban was driving a great race through some great
Yeah.
overtakes on Sergio and Fernando. His car breaks, unfortunately. That would have been a great day for Alpine. Oscar from 17th to 7th. Sergio 8th. Liam Lawson, the first driver to ever score his maiden points in Formula One, excuse me, um, in ninth place. And then, or excuse me, his first driver to ever score his maiden points at Singapore. Um, K Mag brings it home in 10th. At one point, those Haas's looking like they were going to get some more points, but the fact that they get one, we'll take it. Um, man, what do you think? I don't know. Just give me all your thoughts on the race. I've said my piece. I think the track is a joke. I don't like it, but man, give me all your thoughts on everything.
I mean, the street racing alone, I think I'm also giving it a higher grade than it probably deserves, only because I thought it was just exciting racing throughout. I'm not sorry, not exciting racing. I think it was better racing than we've seen all season, especially at the front of the race. Like obviously, Red Bull's been pulling 20-second gaps, like it's like drinking water to them, and
Yeah.
it's and so like the fact that everything, I think the top three arguably would have been the top four finished within like what would have been like 3 seconds of each other, not even.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like the last lap of racing was like it was fun to watch. Like I said, Mercedes definitely had the pace to overtake. George probably, if he doesn't make that mistake, I don't think he's gonna overtake. I don't think he's gonna overtake if that mistake doesn't happen or not. But just like he was gunning for it, and um, had Carlos not backed up the pack he did, George probably gets P2. Arguably, if Carlos raced like how a racer driver should race without the strategy clause that he decided to go with, George could have made a run at P1, and
Mm-hmm.
I think Lewis also would have made a run at P1 too. Because I don't think Lewis. I think Lewis is fighting tooth and nail to overtake George because Lewis is desperate for that win.
Yep.
Um, I think, and I also like obviously I'm very happy with the Red Bulls not finishing uh, at the top. So I'll rate it biasly in that aspect.
Yep.
But I do agree with you. The street racing that it's got to find a way to make overtaking more exciting. They got. I know the regulation for 2026. I think it is. They're going to make the car smaller and stuff. I think a big problem is like the cars are too wide. It's like the streets are too narrow to overtake too,
Yep.
and I don't know. It's either they either got to really make some big regulations with the length and the size of the cars, or they have to get rid of the street racing entirely because it's just boring. It does get boring to watch. And had Red Bull been winning this race, I guarantee you it would have been like a 30-second gap, and nobody would have really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
except for Red Bull fans,
Well,
obviously.
I mean, it's crazy that when Red Bull, the most dominant car all year, even when I don't know if you remember, there was a point when Max got behind someone in seventh or eighth, and they were like, Max, just back off. You're not gonna pass anyone, and it's just hurting your tires, which we need to
Mm,
save. Um,
yeah,
and that's been the fastest car all year, and he's being told to not pass people. You know,
I don't
um,
think he listened, did he?
I don't know. I think for like a lap he didn't, and then he did. But that was the
Because
talk that he wasn't listening.
I know he had a ballsy overtake on, was it Gasly or Ocon? I know it was one of the Alpines. I think it was Gasly. He had a really ballsy overtake there, and I'm like, that is, you got real sketchy there. It was great. It was a great move. Like, it ended up being a really great move. But like, I remember the announcer saying like that's one of those moves that you need George to pull off on Lando or Carlos to overtake to P1 because realistically, like Max's mindset there is I'm going to take this position, and if you're not letting me take this position, we're going into the wall together.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so that's definitely the mindset that Max still has, and I think everyone gives him way too much credit for calling him a mature driver when realistically he hasn't had a chance to like show his immaturity because no one's been close to him to compete with.
yeah.
But I won't call him a mature driver until I see somebody genuinely racing him lap like wheel to wheel, and he's not putting them off the track or into a wall.
All right, I respect that opinion because I've been one that's been calling him more mature, um, just for just for the way he's been coming through the field in some of these races. But to your point, he's had like the fastest car. Um, there's just been some times where I'm like, I see him wait to pass someone into like a DRS zone or like he's just patient because he knows he has the fastest
I'll give
car.
you that. Yeah.
But I like what you're saying is that like he also hasn't had to battle anyone. To I your point is also
Yeah.
like very. I like your point as well. It's a very good
I
point.
can agree with what you're saying 100%. Like, but it's also like those when he is overtaking everybody, it's very early on in the race.
Mm-hmm.
Max is coming from P15 to P2 or P3 by like lap 10. So he's
Yep.
overtaking these guys like you see in the videos, the memes, like Max is just singing, just cruising through, like just
Yep.
passing everybody left and right. And like that's just the way it is with that Red Bull right now. And especially when DRS opens up. Once DRS opens up, like Max is just passing these guys like it's nothing.
Yep.
And so I think he can be patient because he knows how fast his car is.
Yep.
But when a weekend like this weekend happens where he has to be patient, not just has to be patient, but he literally can't overtake these guys. He's gonna do those ballsy moves again. It's just
Yep.
who he reverts to.
Yep.
And until he can prove otherwise to me that he can overtake in a not dangerous way with a car that's not just flying around the track the way it has been all season, it's hard to change my mind on that aspect.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Does George Russell pass Carlos Sainz if he doesn't pit?
I don't know. That's tough. Because they both pitted at the same time or same lap originally for the hard tires.
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm
know
saying. Does he pass
Yeah,
him on equal tires?
I don't know. The only reason I say that is because like Carlos obviously looked like George had the pace the entire time, but Carlos was backing up the field
Mm-hmm.
purposely to not show his. Carlos never showed his true pace. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
you said, it was a second in race pace he could have had, and he was not doing it.
Yep.
Um, I think it's a 50-50 call.
Mm-hmm.
I would go 60-40. I think George would have overtaken him.
Really? Okay. I
I
like it.
would go 60-40 though. Yeah.
Yeah. It
But
would
I
have
think it's
been.
just closer than people would think.
I don't want to say. I mean, like it's easy for us to sit here on a Monday and go over it all. Might have been a little bit more interesting if you would have split your driver strategies. You know. Um,
Just Mercedes or
yeah,
Ferrari?
Mercedes. Yeah,
Mercedes. Yeah,
kept.
I don't. I'm not sure if that was entirely like their strategy call to begin with. I think Lewis made the call to double bit.
Mm,
I think
yeah.
Lewis was gunning for the win too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, what else do I gotta say? I feel like I have one more thing to add there. Um, about that Singapore race. I guess not. We'll go over the rest here real quick. I'll fly through the other, and then we'll get to the Japanese Grand Prix. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Alex Albon in 11th, which is pretty good for that Williams at that track. Joe Guan U12th. I don't feel like he was talked about all day. I don't remember.
He's
Maybe it was
signing a
just so.
contract.
Oh yeah, yep. He'll be in that
He locked in
Sauber
that Alpha.
next year.
Yep, Sauber. Sorry.
Yeah, no, nope. Because that team name change. Nico 13th, Logan Sargent 14th, and that's just because there's a lot of DNFs as he went into the wall. Fernando was having a decent day, and then his day fell apart when he crossed over the
That pit
line and
stop.
came back in the pits and then
That too.
spun.
Yeah.
George Russell 16th with the last lap crash. Bottas, Esteban Ocon, Yuki, and Lance Stroll, who didn't start, all did not finish the races there. So, you know what, Alex? Before we go to Japan, why don't we talk about points here real quick? Max is out in lead by a country mile. Sergio's in second with 2:33. I'd say he got that pretty well locked up. I don't think Lewis will catch him at
No.
all. Lewis takes over third place for the first time this year. Lewis and Max are the only two drivers to finish in the points in every race this year. Um, Fernando is fourth, 10 points behind. Carlos Sainz is now in fifth with 142. Leclerc is in sixth with 123. George Russell down in seventh with 109, which you can't like. George got to pick it up here because he's sitting in eighth place now with 97 points is Lando Norris, so only 12 points behind. Lance Stroll's in ninth with 47 points. Pierre Gasly putting the pressure on him with 45. Oscar Piastri putting the pressure on both of them with 42. Esteban sitting there with 36. Albon with 21. Nico with 9. Valtteri with 6. Joe Guan Yu with 4. Yuki 3. K-Mag 3. Liam Lawson 2 points, which is just big.
It's huge.
Let's talk about teams real quick, and maybe let's talk about Liam Lawson. There's just so much to discuss this week. What a great week for Formula One.
Yeah.
Red Bull again is out by a country mile. Mercedes is in second with 289. Ferrari's in third with 265.
Very
Alex
close.
said that George Russell crash was bad for points. It absolutely was. To win a race, you get 25 points. Ferrari is only behind Mercedes by 24 points. So that's pretty, that's pretty close in the grand scheme of things. Mercedes had a chance to build a little bit more of a cushion. They did not. At a track which.
Well, they were on pace to finish what? Is it 15 for third, right, and 12 for fourth?
I think so. 25, 18, 15,
So
12, I think. Yeah.
and so I think Ferrari would have closed the gap a little bit more still, but
Yeah, they would have gotten.
yeah,
Yeah, but it would have
so
been 25 and whatever Charles was instead of like
yeah,
a third and a fourth. Yeah. Um,
yeah. And then I think Ferrari, it's gonna be a tight race for the constructors championship at the end with Ferrari
yeah.
and Mercedes because Ferrari definitely has a one lap pace at least. We'll see what happens for the rest of the season.
Oh my gosh, we have so much Formula One to discuss, and then our graphic designer is hopping and saying that the Panthers are you asking me Panthers plus minus 2.5? And he's asking you Steelers plus minus 3.5. Ryan, we have
I don't think
Formula
the
One to
Panthers.
discuss.
I don't think the Panthers are covering.
The Steelers are definitely going to cover because they're the Steelers. So, that is what it is. We might lose, but we're still going to cover. I don't know. We have a lot of injuries. Let's go back to Formula One here. We're not going to let our graphic designer slip us up on NFL just yet. We'll talk about that at the end for sure because both of our teams are playing tonight. But Ferrari opens up that gap even more to Aston Martin with 217. Man, I would have loved to see McLaren with a better car throughout the whole year. They're down in fifth with 139. That's going to be tough to close with, 70-ish points there. Alpine in sixth with 81. Williams in seventh with 21. Haas in eighth with 12. So that was big that, K-Mag gets that point there with Joe Guan Yu getting those points because Alfa Romeo is only 2 points behind with 10. And then AlphaTauri with 5, 2 of those being Liam Lawson's. What do you think about Liam Lawson? Do you think he deserves a ride?
I think he definitely does. Unfortunately, I think he's going to take the American seat in Williams and Logan
Yeah.
Sargent. So I think that's like the best situation for him going forward, at least. And because Sauber's locked up, um, AlphaTauri is rumored to be locked up, and like that announcement's coming sometime this week, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes is locked up. Obviously, all the top teams are locked up.
Yeah.
Who else? Oscar's locked up. McLaren's locked up. Aston Martin's locked up because they're not getting rid of Alonso. They're never ever getting rid of Stroll.
LA's
Even
favorite.
though it
Aston
makes way
Martin
too much
keeping
sense.
Stroll.
Who else
I,
is it? Who am I
I,
forgetting? Aston Martin, Alpine. Alpine's locked up, right? I think they both
yeah.
signed multi-year contracts.
I think
Yeah,
I
so
think
Williams.
I think you either keep Lawson in that car and Danny Rick goes to Williams, or Danny Rick stays in that car and Lawson goes to Williams. I mean,
I agree. I agree with you. I just do think I heard the rumors that Danny Rick is going to sign with AlphaTauri. And I think that's more Red Bull pulling strings than anything else. 'Cause I think the Red Bull is planning to make Danny Rick the number 2 driver because I don't think they trust Yuki, and you
mm,
can't blame them.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and next year
Yeah, so
AlphaTauri is going to have a Red Bull 2.0. I heard. So
yeah,
if
they're
they have it,
supposedly getting this the RB18 or whatever it is now.
yeah. I mean, because it's tough to be like, make that jump from the AlphaTauri to the Red Bull car when they're such different cars, and like,
Hmm.
but if you give AlphaTauri a fast car, now it's like, okay, we know you guys are fast, right? Everyone in Formula One is kind of fast, but can you put a whole
Hmm.
weekend together? Can you not make mistakes? Can you handle the pressure of running up front? Um, which, to
Yeah,
your
I think
point,
next
would
year is
be,
going to be big for Yuki
yeah,
because obviously they're very confident with Rick. I know Danny Rick. I know with the practice runs he got in that RB18 or RB19, whatever it is. Horner was impressed to say the least. And obviously, we all know that Sergio Perez is getting scapegoated and hated by everyone in Red Bull. I feel so bad for him.
and
Uh,
and it's getting racist remarks thrown at the guy.
he's getting everything. Helmut Marko's got to go, man. I'm sorry. He really does. It's bad. And like, no one can address it. And then everyone's like, oh, why isn't Max standing up to this guy? Or why isn't Horner saying anything? I'm like, because that's their boss. Like,
Yeah,
he signs their paycheck.
yeah,
I'm not saying they disagree with his statements, but I'm saying they can't really do anything,
and they're
even
winning.
if they wanted to.
So,
Yeah.
um, and I know for myself, I still think Nick DeVries. I think he got shafted a little bit. Liam Lawson is making it seem like he didn't because he's doing stuff with that car. Um, but when Nick DeVries came in the 1 week for Alex Albon, which still that meme never ends. It just keeps they keep adding
The
that
appendix,
everything.
they keep on
Yes,
adding more and more
yeah.
to it.
But when
It's
Nick
just like
DeVries came
I
in
keep on
and
seeing that the domino meme, you know what I'm talking about with the
yep,
stones? It just keeps on
yep,
getting bigger and bigger.
all because Alex's appendix. But when Nick DeVries came in and scored that point, I was like, oh man, this dude, get him a ride. And then when it didn't pan out, as when Liam Lawson came in, I said, let's slow the brakes after Zandvoort. He ran well at Monza. He's doing well here. So I mean, I think is Danny Rick back next week?
I don't know. I think they said he was going to miss Japan, but I could be wrong. I know he went to some crazy hand specialist, the same one that Stroll went to supposedly to try to get back in his car as soon as possible.
Yeah. Well,
But I know if he's not back next week, he's definitely back the following GP.
yeah. So we have Japan this week, and then they have a week off. So it would kind of make sense maybe to give them another 2 weeks. But man, if Liam Lawson continues to do well, I think he deserves a ride. Um, that kind of wraps up that. You go with Singapore? You ready to move
Yeah,
on?
we gotta. Yeah,
All right. Japanese Grand Prix, Suzuka. Um, who holds the most wins?
Lewis.
Nope.
Uh, is it older or Seb or
Oh,
Schumacher?
Schumacher.
Neither. Oh,
Schumacher.
Schumacher. Oh, I say
Yeah.
Seb and Schumacher. No, man, that's crazy.
Um, who constructor?
That's good. Ferrari.
Nope.
No, is it Williams or Mercedes?
Nope.
McLaren.
Yep. I
Okay.
like there. There's like a list. Like people don't think McLaren, but McLaren really dominated back in the day. You forget
So did
Lewis was
Williams.
on.
Everyone forget about Williams'
Oh,
dominance too.
yeah, absolutely. So that's why yeah, Alex's guesses they're all good. It's you kind of who has the most wins at a track. You either say Lewis or Schumacher first or second, and then you're probably gonna either say Vettel or Max is starting to get there at certain tracks. So,
Yeah.
um, man, oh, wait a second, hold up, wait a minute. You on your computer there?
Yeah.
We got to go back to Singapore real quick.
Okay.
Let me know. Let me know when it's up on your screen here. Oh my gosh, sorry guys, we're all over the place. There's so much to talk about. We're going over an hour easy today,
Yeah.
which is not usually what we do, but we're having fun out
Oh,
here
yeah.
today. Oh man, Alex with a banger of a weekend. I am in no man's land here. I feel like
I thought I
top
was
five.
really risking it here too.
Top five was Carlos, Lando, Lewis, Charles, and Max. Alex guessed Carlos, Max, Lewis, Lando, and Fernando. He gets 5 points for picking the winner right, Carlos, which is nuts. Max was in the top five. He gets a point, 3 points because he put Lewis in the right spot, and 1 point for Lando.
You
So
got you had a pretty like safe weekend if it wasn't for George.
Yeah, no, I mean, so
You would have gotten
Alex
at least
gets,
5 points.
yeah, Alex gets 5 for Carlos, 1 for Max is 6, 3 for Lewis is 9, and then 1 for Lando is 10. Myself, I picked Lewis, Max, Charles, Carlos, and George. I did not get anyone in the right spot, but I got 4 out of the top 5 right. I don't have a lot of red, but it's just not putting one driver in the right spot really brings you down. So,
I
as
really
you,
thought I was big. It was a big gamble on Carlos in first.
no, you picked. You're crushing this game this year. I mean, I need to stop like loving Lewis so hard and picking him to win every race. But yeah, so we condensed the graphic a little bit. Rounds 1 through 13, Alex was leading 86 to 74. He gets 10 points, which puts him up at 96. I get 4 points, which puts me at 78. Which that is a decent amount of points to make up with. What are we going to? Japan, Texas, Mexico, Brazil. I don't know. We still have 6 races left. I guess I could bring it back here,
It's
but
possible. I mean, if you can, because I don't think I'm ever going to put Lewis realistically to win. But
well,
if
that's
he's
your
going to
fault.
win any track, it's going to be Brazil.
Oh,
And
Lewis loves Brazil.
you're probably gonna guess him in Brazil. And if he does win that, that could be a big swing of things.
Yeah,
So we'll see what happens.
part of me, man, they said that Japan is really different, but Japan is also not like a high speed track. There's literally one pass. There's DRS down the front straight, and then passing into 130R. If you have better tires, it kind of is a downforce track. So I'm not sure. I think Mercedes will be quick, but like Max was very confident that they would bounce back this weekend. So,
Yeah, I think they
but then
will
like
too.
my point to that being like once you go to Mexico, Vegas, Abu
That's all
Dhabi,
Max. That's all
that's
Red Bull.
yeah.
That's all Red Bull.
So I think Lewis. It's Texas too, Red Bull. I think if
Yeah,
Lewis is going to get a win, it has to be either
it's
here in
Brazil.
Japan or in Brazil. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, just a graphic I made showing that Alex is absolutely destroying me in this game. So that's real fun stuff. But yeah, so Suzuka, it is it is on a crazy, crazy, crazy time schedule for us here on the East Coast, which is fine because
Is that the 2 a.m. race?
we are pretty diva here. Yeah, I'm looking here. Qualifying is from 2 to 3 a.m. Saturday morning for us here, and then 1 a.m. is the race Sunday morning. Um, so I will
Jeez,
essentially be getting.
I'm
Well,
probably yeah. I'm sleeping. I'm sorry. I got
well,
a
I'm not
Yankees game
sleeping.
Saturday. I might be able to watch a race on the way back home. We'll see what happens.
What do you got going on this weekend?
It's our editor's birthday, so we're going to a Yankees game Saturday, and
Wow,
I'm assuming we'll spend
cool.
some time in New York. But if we don't, we just end up coming back, and I'll watch it when I get home. I'll watch some of it anyways, because then I got
Yeah,
to be up early Sunday. Because
it might be perfect. You might be coming
yeah,
off that high, coming home from the game, still awake, and
I might. We'll see, but I don't know if I'm going to stay up the whole race because at that point it'd be 3:30
yeah, it would be a little rough.
for the end of the race. About
You
3:30.
you might need to drink like a Red Bull or something to get you through it. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I'm good. I'm so glad I'm not big on energy drinks, coffee. Because now I
coffee
don't gotta
guy.
like Red Bull. Yeah, it's coffee. I'll take it black. I don't care.
Um, yeah, I like back in the day when Monster was big sponsor of Mercedes. I like
I
that little
forgot about that. Yeah.
competing battle they had. Yeah, so Japan is on a crazy time for us. As I just mentioned, they have the historic 130R turn. The big Fernando Alonso outside pass on Michael Schumacher is the clip that they hold dear there. It is a tough track to pass. Down the front straightaway is your best bet. If you don't pass down the front straightaway, I have the map in front of me. You are basically following. You get into turn one, into turn two, and then you have a whole bunch of S's you're not passing. It's tough to get any grip coming out of seven. You hit a hard little right hander through eight. A hard right hander with nine puts you under the racetrack, under the bridge. Um, if you're ballsy, there's a hairpin at 11 that you can send it down in. Again, you need to have much better tires, maybe the beginning of the race. And then it's kind of a weird little run until 13, and then you get down the stretch to 130R, and hairpin into the last corners there, 16, 17, 18. So tough track to pass. I don't know if you remember last year, Alex, was the rain disaster. I forget if it
Oh
started.
yeah,
I forget if it started late. It might have been a rolling start too. No, I don't remember if it was a rolling
I
start
think
or
it
not. I just
started really
remember.
late. I think it
I remember
started like an hour late or something.
there was a crash. There was a truck. Not a truck. Help me out here. Lift
Left, yeah.
one of the crane trucks on the track while
Hmm.
drivers were going. Pierre Gasly almost hit it. I think it was him.
Yeah,
It was
Gasly.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'm like 90% sure it was Gasly because he was like
yeah,
losing it with.
it was a wet race. I
But
remember there was no
hmm
DRS.
barely
Max,
saw it. Yeah.
yeah, Max stomped him out front. Sergio and Charles had a little incident going into the last corner that they gave Charles a 5-second penalty for, and that gave the championship to Max at Suzuka last year. I don't know. Because they added races, I don't know. Can Max clinch it here?
Suzuka, I don't think so. I think after that P5 finish, I think he can clinch it in the race after, which is Austin. You said right?
Uh,
Texas.
from here, I think we go to, yeah, Texas.
Yeah. So I think he can
Suzuka.
clinch it there, and then yeah. What's the record for most wins in a season again? Was it 13? What
Oh,
was Max's record he had last year?
for most wins in a season?
Yeah, most single season wins
Oh,
by
oh, I was
driver.
thinking, my mind went to in a row. Sorry. Um,
I know Max got it last year. I know we bet an over under. Not
I
bet,
have
but
it
we
in
were
my
kind of
phone.
guessing a little bit under. Yeah.
Max Verstappen also set the record for race wins in a single season last year, winning 15 of them.
15.
So he's won.
So he has to win out, right, to tie.
He's won 10 in a row,
Then he had the season opener.
and he won the first
So he's
race,
at
which is
11 right now.
11, and one more, which is 12. Because I thought it went Max, Sergio, and then
I think you're right.
I'm looking it up right now. Give me 1 second here. Um, so Max wins the first race. Sergio wins the second. Max wins the Australian, which is the third, so that's two. Azerbaijan was Sergio, and then I think Max won from Miami on, and so that was, and he won 10 in a row, right? So, so 10 plus two, so he's won 12. So
12. So he needs three. He needs four to break it and three to tie. That's
yeah,
gonna be a close one.
yeah, it will be a close. I forget. My phone is what I use to record. I can pull up my notes here on my laptop though. Now that I'm using my brain. Over under Max wins. Alex 14 and a half under.
I said under.
Yeah,
Damn,
you took the
I
under.
am, I am dumb.
So that means I'm getting
I
the
do remember
over.
that because I think Checo had just come off his win, and I remember that does sound right. I said that because I remember I thought Checo was going to win a few more races, and I thought
Yeah.
Aston Martin was going to win a few races, and little did I know.
Yeah. How did any of that play out? Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and I saw there was a post this weekend at Singapore that was like Red Bull can clinch the constructor if I don't know. Basically, Mercedes needed to have a full crap weekend, and it was kind of the opposite. So, I bet you there's a shot too that Red Bull might be able to clinch the constructors here with a solid weekend as well. Um,
probably.
and I think that's you'll start seeing the Max Verstappen can clinch. Usually, there's like a week where it's like Max Verstappen can clinch if he finishes first. Sergio doesn't finish, and like Lewis finishes like
Yeah,
eighth or lower. Like there's one week where it's crazy, and then the next week it's like all Max has to do is finish in the top 10. So
win the race. Yeah,
yeah, we'll start getting into those weeks here soon. Um, but Ferrari showed some pace here last year. Red Bull showed pace. This was one of the races last year where because it was a rain race, they were on inters the whole time. One set of inters. Maybe some guys in the back pitted for dry, but there wasn't enough time for anyone up front to pit and recover their position. And I don't know if you remember the photos, Alex, after the race, but Red Bull's tires were like extremely good compared to like
yeah,
Ferraris who looked like they were. It was one of those things where it was like, wow, this Red Bull car, there's a reason why it's
they're
so much
winning.
faster.
Yeah,
Um, so man, but that's Japan this week, And now me and Alex, which we haven't done it in a couple of weeks. It's just honestly, it's been all my fault, not his. Let's make some picks here, Alex.
All
I
right, I'll
picked
start it
first.
off.
I
Yeah,
picked
you picked
first
first last week.
because I sent you the Lewis Hamilton text. So go
Yep.
ahead, kick it
So
off there.
I'm gonna go with a little bit of a revenge race here. I'm gonna go Charles. I feel like he wants that
No,
win. Yeah, I'm
I
gonna go a little
already,
ballsy here.
I actually typed out your pick and hit enter,
Did you
and
did you
like,
put Max?
yeah, 1000%.
I did now.
I was already
No.
typing up. I was already typing up mine. That's
That's
crazy.
funny.
You're
I'm
going
going
with a
revenge
re.
race, yeah.
You're going with a
Ferrari looked
re.
good here last year. They have the one lap pace. It just comes down to strategy calls and hopefully their tires can hold up. I'm gonna go
And
Charles. I'm
and
gonna go a
as
little
we
ballsy
talked
here.
about, this is a circuit where passing is not easy. So if you get up front, you give that driver in second a little bit of dirty air. You have a shot. I'm rolling with Max here. I'm gonna let you pick number two though.
I'm gonna go Max, number two.
You going Max too? All right, I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna roll with my man here because again, I think this is the type of track where they've been good. I think they're gonna struggle in some of these other tracks coming up, but like I said, here in Brazil, I think they're gonna have a strong car. So I'm going Lewis too, baby.
My three, I'm gonna go damn, this is tough. This is tough. All right. I got Max, Charles. I don't think Checo's gonna finish there. I don't want to put Lewis there either. See, this is where it's tough because I want to throw Carlos. I'm debating between Carlos and Lando, but I feel like one of them, if they don't finish here, is going to finish outside the top five because I have my 4 or 5 throwing in there. Charles, I'm gonna go Carlos. I'm gonna go Carlos at P3 here. Think he's gonna ride off the high and get another podium.
You know what? I'm gonna be boring. And as you were contemplating all that, I had Carlos locked in on my head as three. I think he's just on a heater right now. I'm gonna keep that up. Carlos Trace. Man, we
All right.
disrespect the crap out of Sergio Perez in this show, but he also sometimes doesn't come and perform for us either. So
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go George 4.
wow,
I'm gonna go
okay.
George 4.
Tell me George isn't crazy. Like we just sometimes I feel like don't pick him, and then he shows up, and if I throw him in the top five, he's usually like,
He's there, or
but
he's
what?
lingering somewhere.
He's him and Sergio. We're like we pick their teammates so confidently in the top five, but then with them, we're like, "Ugh, do we really want to use the top five spot on them? Right? I feel like that. I don't know. Just
Nah,
there's just
yeah, it,
something
it
in
is
my
hard. I would say early in the year, Sergio, obviously. Now I feel like George since the break has looked quicker than Lewis in the at least in qualifying and stuff. So I just think George is gonna play this race a little bit safer. So I'm gonna throw him at 4. Yeah,
yeah. I know.
Lando. Yeah, see, I
Lewis
want to
did
do that
make
too.
a post that he's dedicated to working on his quality because it has looked bad. Yeah, I'm going Lando four. Man,
To
I
be
don't.
devil's advocate for his qualifying pace, I did hear that Lewis was driving with the wrong front end part, which is front axle. I forgot what it was. I know Toto said them, but then again, Toto's also like a really big Lewis defender, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's hard to take everything he says as truth. Um, See, this is where it's tough because I want to put a McLaren in my top 5, but it's hard to count out the GOAT, so I'm gonna throw Lewis there.
Okay. Wow. I see. That's crazy because like I was like, who's he gonna pick? I was like, is he gonna pick Checo or is he gonna pick Lando? I forgot that you didn't even have Lewis in your top four. So I guess let's be honest. Who am I? We have anyone in the chat? I need someone in the chat. I need a yes if you're in the chat with us right now. I just maybe Ryan, maybe my old man will type in here. I need someone in the chat to help me out here. What are we picking? Are we picking Sergio or are we picking George to finish 5? I need help. I'm gonna let I'm gonna let the K Mag sixth. All right, Dad. You know what? Jeez Louise.
I thought that was Ryan.
No, my dad knows what's up. He just likes to make fun of Ryan. It's great. All right, Dad, help me out here. If Ryan's not gonna type in here, who's finishing fifth, Dad? Is it Sergio or is it George? He's gonna say something. He better not say something stupid like Sergeant or something.
He's a sergeant.
No. I said he better not say that. I need actual help here. We have 5 viewers, but I feel like two of them are me and you. One's Brooke, and then my old man.
That sounds about right.
Oh man, my dad's got like the font on like 100 on his phone too. You ever see that?
Yeah.
So it's like 3 letters on a page. All right, so my dad said Sergio, mistyped it. Shouts out, Dad, with your big font. Love you. And then Macomb said Sergeant. So obviously we're gonna go with my dad's pick here, 5th place. I will wrap it up with Sergio then.
Sergio and P5, huh? You got some ballsy calls here, my friend.
Yeah, well, you
It's
know.
hard to separate. It's really hard to separate those Mercedes. That's like my biggest thing too. It's like it seems
Ooh,
like they're always right on each other. And you
the
have
Macomb.
George out the top five.
I don't know why I do. I don't like it because you know I like Mercedes. Like I was bugging at the end of the race that George was gonna win that race. I knew Lewis wasn't gonna win, just because the way they were catching those guys. Like it was gonna take a lap to pass Lando, a lap to pass Carlos. Like there wasn't enough
Yeah.
time, so I was still excited. Um, but yeah, I don't know why. I'm disrespecting George, but I love George. But well. Macomb finally threw out Oscar. That's probably going to be a bad top 5. That's like a that's better than him saying K Mag or Sargent.
Wait, is he in the chat?
Yeah, of course. Shimmy, our graphic designer, always in the chat with us.
All right. Can he give an honest top five?
Can
That's
he give
not
an
like
honest? I don't
yeah.
think
Can we
he
give it
knows
because
enough
he has
people.
Oscar. Well, he knows Oscar, and he can go based off what we have right here, and just play his own thing in there.
All right. All right, you heard that. You heard that, Ryan. Alex is asking that you throw in your own top 5. Um, I don't know
Uh,
who is part of our 5 viewers, but if anyone else wants to throw in their top 5, that'd be cool too. We'd love to see that. I could screenshot that too because it's not like we're gonna have a bunch of people and we can go over it next week. Um, yeah, man, I don't know. This is crazy. I like that you picked Charles, dude. That's ballsy.
and it really is considering like I've been running Carlos high like all season. I think he's been the more consistent driver. I just feel like Charles is going to finally put it together this weekend. I don't know, I just feel in my gut. And if I get it right, I'm gonna look like a fucking genius. And if
You
I
are
don't,
you.
and if I don't, I'm all right with that. I look like a brain dead idiot, and I'm
My
not gonna lie. No, I'm trusting Ferrari here, and I know one of your boys who watches this is a big Ferrari fan.
Yep.
So I'm trusting Ferrari here. They better hold it together. If
Yeah.
not, they need to throw Vettel at the helm. He needs to be in charge.
Shouts out my boy Mac. Who would have thought that Ferrari would be the one to break the Red Bull streak? That's crazy. Um, he puts up. They put up. Those Ferrari fans put up, like I say, with a lot of nonsense though. So they deserve.
Yeah,
They
they
deserve some
definitely
good
do.
in their life. Are you ready to hear Ryan's top 5?
Yeah, let's hear it.
He has 1 max, 2 max, 3 max, 4 max, and 5 max.
He's not wrong. Max will take everybody out of the race if it'll get him a win.
Oh man. Oh shoot, let's go. My boy Mix in the chat. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my boy Mick is saying Lando 1. Max,
Wow. Is
Max,
he a McLaren
Max.
fan?
I don't know. I think he's a Verstappen fan, right? Right, Mick. I'm pretty sure he's a Max fan. Um, Lando 1, Max 2. He's got your
Wow.
boy Charles in 3, Perez in 4, and Sides in 5. He has not a single Mercedes in sight.
That is. Oh, he just hates Mercedes. That's clear.
Um,
Um,
he hates
but
Mercedes.
damn,
Yeah, with
Lando
the
over Max. That's ballsy.
listen. I
Like
mean,
you,
Lando's had a
I
couple good
gotta give him
races.
credit. I know. I gotta give him credit for that though, because to admit that like Lando's just gonna outdrive Max, because Lando's not gonna win that on pace. That's just
No,
gonna be some crazy good driving.
yeah. Um, You never know though. It's kind of, yeah, I don't know. Ryan gave us an honest top five. Um, he said Max
Max.
1, Lewis 2, Lando he has in 3, Sergio in 4, and then his boy Oscar in 5. Um,
All right.
that's a
I can
yeah.
get behind that. That's interesting.
I'm definitely we're gonna look
Glad
back
we
at
got
these.
Chad involved in here. This is cool.
Yeah, yeah, chat's where it's at. They're helping us out right now. Ryan texted me. He's an actual Oscar fan. Like he's
No, I
like,
know. Yeah, he told me.
and I
Because
think like
Max and Oscar are his two favorite drivers, and then K
yeah,
Mag. He's always
no,
riding behind K Mag.
not Max. We won't let Ryan be a Max fan. I'm not allowing
Ryan
that.
likes Matt. Do you know Ryan? Let's be real
No,
here.
no,
He's the
no.
king of bandwagons.
We're not letting Ryan hop on the Max train. But like, listen, if
Good
you
luck with
are
that.
new,
That's all you.
if I'll take on that responsibility. If you are new to Formula One, I mean, I hopped on the LH bandwagon a couple years ago, and I have my reasons. But like, if you're even newer, like Oscar Piastri shows pace. He's young. He's not like the most popular driver, so you don't look like you're hopping on like a bandwagon yet. Like I don't
Mhm.
know. I like the Oscar pick of being a fan of his. That's just my feel. So, man, Japan though should be interesting. I hope. I don't. I To be honest, like the rain last year, I think rain sometimes helps a racetrack, and other racetracks it hurts it. I feel like
Yeah,
this is one where it hurts it because without
it
the
hurts it.
DRS in the
Yeah, for
front
sure.
zone, you're yeah. Because I really feel like the race settled down after a couple laps, and it just got chilled. So, man, I appreciate chat today getting involved. My old man Mick was
Yeah,
good. My boy Mick, he races Mick. Are they 305s, 360s? He races wingless sprint cars down in New Jersey. He's got like
that's
4 or 5
dope.
wins this year.
Sweet.
Uh, Ryan said, "Me picking Oscar is like John picking OKC in high school." Wait. What? Help me out. What is he saying there? I've been riding OKC.
I can understand that. Like Oscar's a pretty he's a solid driver.
Yeah.
OKC at the time, like
Yep.
you went
Well,
in and like they were like a good team. They weren't. I know they got to the finals. I think the first year you started rooting for them, right?
no, second year. Second year.
Second year, yeah,
Yeah.
but they weren't like. I don't think everybody was favoring them. Like I don't think anybody knew about Harden and Russ. Everybody knew KD because KD came out of Texas and he was I think he was the number one scorer in college, or he might have been number two,
Yeah.
but I know he was dominating in Texas. So
Yeah.
it was just like it's a team that was unknown, I guess, and not super popular team. Like nobody really knows who OKC was at the time. They had just become champions over for the Supersonics. So like
Yeah.
I can understand that reference.
You're
That's
right.
actually a
That's a
pretty
good
good one.
comparison. I thought he was calling me out. I got a little sensitive there, but you're right. That's good. Listen. I've been riding OKC the whole
You know
time. I
what?
know
I'm not
that.
gonna lie to you. I may be overthinking this because
No, no,
knowing our
no,
editor,
no,
he was
Ryan.
probably
No,
trying to call you out.
no. Our editor. He said young team, a lot of promise, up and coming competition.
Okay, fair.
Oh, my boy. He said it's crate sprints and 360 sometimes. But listen, my boy Mick, he's kicking butt this year,
Nice,
and he won the championship last year. So
sweet.
he's a wheelman for sure. So man, we're at an hour 20 minutes. This was a great show today. This was crazy. Um,
I thought it was longer. I'm surprised,
yeah.
and not lose the
Well,
time.
yeah, and then now, unfortunately, I mean, if you guys hate football, sorry, but we got to talk about it tonight because Alex Perez, no bandwagon there. He's been a Panthers fan for as long as I've known him. Myself, Steelers fan, lifelong. And we both, because early on in the season, they played 2 games on Monday nights. Usually it's an East Coast, West Coast game where one starts at 7 and then the other one starts at 10 or 11. I don't know why there's
Mhm.
2 East Coast games that start at 7 and 8.
I don't understand why you put the Panthers on primetime television. Period. You shouldn't put, especially two teams in the NFC South. We are bad. All right, we're all competing. Whoever finishes 500 or one game above it is going to be in the playoffs. There's not a good team in the NFC South. We're getting booed in the first round.
See, this is crazy because like Steelers, they could be on primetime, whatever. They're just Steelers.
That
But
makes sense. So the Steelers are
my
just like
big,
they have a core fan base. They travel well. Like and Tomlin is one of the greatest coaches of all time. So like I can
yeah.
understand the
But
Steelers being a prime
you're
time.
like a Panthers fan, and you're just being so honest right now that like you're just like, well, why are we on television?
I'm
I feel
excited to
bad.
watch Bryce Young. I like Bryce Young.
Yeah,
I don't think he's great. I don't think he's going to be the greatest savior to be since like he's not Aaron Rodgers coming in, but I think he shows some potential. And if we can get him some weapons, I think we can have a solid franchise quarterback. We'll see what happens.
yeah. I don't follow the Panthers like that. I just hear things about other teams, but I've heard good stuff about him. That he just needs some Damn, Ali, it's gotten dark in your room. Holy crap!
Yeah, it has.
You got a light in there or something? Or
Yeah, I do. I just didn't want to turn it on.
I don't know if we've ever done a show this long like that, where where the light was coming in from Alex's window, and then my man was sitting in pitch black a second ago. Um, yeah, so I guess I don't know if our graphic designer wanted me to pick if you were gonna plus minus 2.5. I honestly don't know. I think if there was a team that you could do it against, it'd be the Saints. Um, and then I don't know what you
I
think.
think the Saints are a really underrated team. Not underrated. I think they're really solid. I think they're a solid team, and I think Derek Carr just has to be a top 15 quarterback, and they'll be okay. Um, so that's where I don't think the Panthers got destroyed by arguably one of the worst defenses in the league last week.
Yeah.
But I don't see it getting much better.
Okay. Well, so you
I
think
have
we're
us
on a
having four. I have us having. I think I had us at 5-12. That was my guesstimate. And after
oh,
watching week one, I think we might not win more than like 3 games this year, maybe two.
that's no hope for a Panthers fan. I feel so bad. Um, all right, Ali, do you think the Steelers are gonna cover? We do
Fuck
not
Will
have.
Greer. Fuck Will. You know what? Fuck Will Greer. And more importantly, I want to make this very clear to anyone who knows the Carolinas history at all here.
Why don't we like Will Greer?
Fuck Kyle Allen. Fuck everything about Kyle Allen. It
Why
is
did?
his false abilities that people thought, oh, he can save us after Cam Newton went down. I would have rather had Cam that entire time. Kyle Allen is the worst thing to ever happen to the Carolina franchise.
What just made you so mad? Why do we not like Will Greer?
It's
He's
not
a
Will Greer per se. I don't hate Will Greer. I hated that every single Panther fan turned on Cam Newton instantly.
okay. So is the
That
turn
man
on Cam
deserved
Newton
way too much
immediate?
credit for carrying that team for as long as he did with absolutely no weapons. His number one receiver was Ted Ginn Jr. when we got to the Super Bowl. You let me know a quarterback that's capable of doing that.
Didn't he have Greg
Not a
Olson
single one.
as his tight end?
Yeah, Greg was a phenomenal tight end.
And
But yeah, it was
Luke Kuechly the
Key.
linebacker?
Luke was filthy.
Okay.
Luke. But I'm just saying, I'm saying offense. Our offense was horrible. Like
Was
we
your
had
running
no
back
offensive
decent
weapons.
that year too?
We had Jonathan Stewart. He was all right. He had 1,000 yards. But I'm just saying in general, like Cam has literally carried every single team he's had two like in national championship. Go look at that Auburn team. Go look at that Auburn team. There was not a single player that was a. I don't think. I think one player got a start in the NFL in that entire Auburn team that he won a national championship with.
Wow. McComb did. Um, oh my God.
I haven't
First of
even
all,
seen it.
no. Well, McComb, did you know that he was so triggered by that? That's crazy. My dad said, "Turn the lights off." Alex got mad when you turned on the lights. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Oh, bro,
I didn't know you were so angry about that. I don't know what's going on.
I
I
just
don't.
the hate for Cam really drives me up a wall. And any other quarterback after that, it's just like it just.
Will,
I don't think Will Greer was great. He definitely wasn't our savior, but he was a solid backup. But I just none of them were ever the answer. Carolina needs to admit that they have to rebuild entirely and start with the O line. And until that happens, it's never going to happen.
um, yeah, Will Greer's like a CrossFit guy. I'm pretty sure. So I'm a
Is
fan of
he?
his. Yeah, I think so. Ryan said Cam carried the Panthers to all those losses last season, and that's tough to do as well. So
our starting quarterback was Sam Darnold last year.
no, I don't think he meant.
Ryan,
He probably.
hold on a second.
I mean, he's smart enough to know that. Um, where did that? Oh my! Look what you did, guys. You got Alex so mad that he left the show. This is why we don't. This is why we should just stick to talking about Formula One and not the Panthers. You okay?
Yeah, sorry, my sister opened the door. No, the Panthers are just like we got a solid next 3 to 4 years of just being bad.
Um, well, listen, we can just like your what's it called? What's your fantasy
My
league called? The
dynasty league.
dynasty.
Yeah, we got a
Just like your
solid
dynasty league.
3 to 4 years of me being really bad.
Slow rebuilding. What do you think, Steelers? How are they doing tonight? And just to let you know,
Who are you guys
I
playing?
think the Browns. Hayward's injured. They put Deontay Johnson on the IR, and I think we have another injury in there as well. That's
Watt's
significant.
back, right? Like Watt is playing, TJ.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I think I think the Browns looked a lot better on paper last week. I'm sorry. I think the Browns looked really good to the average viewer last week. But I also will say I think Cincinnati starts off slow every single year, and Joe Burrow had no preseason.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a big factor as into why they didn't look impressive these last 2 weeks. Cincinnati, anyways.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be the tighter game of the two Monday night games. Um, I think the Steelers will cover the spread. I don't know if they'll win, but I think they'll cover the spread.
Um, I agree with you. To, being an AFC North guy, I don't like to give credit to anyone in the AFC North besides the Steelers. But you are right. The Bengals do historically start off slow, and then they come on hot. Um, so
Yeah.
I think the past 2 weeks have been a fluke. They'll be fine. I know that's where a graphic designer has in our fantasy league. Burrow, just waiting for him to get hot. I also have Deshaun Watson as a QB, but he's just sitting on my bench. I refuse to start him because I hate the Browns. But
That was another thing that pissed me off as a Panthers fan. We really wanted Deshaun Watson. Had we picked up Deshaun Watson, I would have not been rooting for them.
yeah, it would have been tough. Um, Steelers also played the best team in the league last week, probably the 49ers. So
Yeah.
I think this will be a little better week. Ryan said he played a few games, scored that one touchdown, and screamed, "I'm back," and then he got smoked.
Ryan just has a hard on for hating Cam because Ryan grew up in a little city that just doesn't like a certain type of people.
Okay, that's not true. All right, that's not true. What Ryan likes is to get under your skin. Oh my gosh.
Ryan, no, Ryan hates Cam Newton. The only
Uh,
time Ryan ever liked Cam Newton is when you picked him up to beat me in fantasy that one year.
Speaking of fantasy, tonight wraps up my matchup. It was actually Alex against me this week. Alex, how did
Yeah,
that
John
go?
beat me. John beat
Yeah,
me, and I'm telling him to sit his defense and not risk the negative 4 points just in case.
yeah.
But
Alex
it's up
out
to
here,
him.
Alex out here losing to me and giving me fantasy advice, which is nice. But as I am talking crap about me beating him in fantasy, he's absolutely destroying me in our F1 pick'ems this season. So unless I catch a hot streak here, he's doing pretty darn good. So, um, man, big show. I don't know. When's the last time we done an hour and a half show?
I don't know if we ever have. I'm not gonna lie to
Oh,
you. I think the longest we've had like an hour 15, maybe
listen,
an hour 20.
I'm gonna
But
keep it real with you. It's the great chat that we have. Like chat, I'm saying if we had chat on some shows, we could have some discussions for a while.
oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, no, man, chat, you were great tonight. Thank you, Mick, my old man, Ryan, for getting in there. I bet you Carter was watching on the TV before he went to bed. Uh, he looks. He said he looks and points at the TV.
Does he?
Brooke will throw us on in the living room. Yeah. Um,
That's funny. That's
so
awesome.
that's always cool.
No,
Yeah. So
Carter, I
we
just
get
want to let you know it's okay. It's okay if you become a Bengals fan because like
yeah
Joe
yeah
Shiesty got that crazy charisma.
yeah. That's cool. It's 7:01. He goes to bed at 7, so
I'm just
he's not
letting
on
him
the
know now when
television.
he goes back and watches a few years later.
Nah,
It's okay.
I'm editing this part out. Show it. um, yeah. So our inconsistency on Monday nights has been all my fault, guys. With some stuff, um, not bad stuff, just a busy schedule going on. So um, we'll be back next Monday night, 5:30. We'll go over our Japanese Grand Prix, and then the following Monday we'll probably be previewing what I believe is the Coda Texas Grand Prix. Man, so just all good stuff going on here.
I think
I bet.
Danny Rick 100% comes back on Austin. I don't think he's racing next
Oh,
week. He just loves Austin.
he
He
loves
loves
Austin.
America. Yeah.
He really does too, man. That's funny. I didn't like. That's a perfect storyline that you're building. You miss another week, and then Danny Rick comes
Yeah, he
back.
comes back.
He's the biggest. He might be the biggest star in the U.S. Besides Lewis. Um, man, yeah, all good stuff there. Man, just great stuff going on. That's that. Alex, you got anything to add?
No, looking forward. Hopefully, I'm really hoping you make a little bit of a comeback here. Not gonna lie to you. Make it close at the end. We'll have like I'm hoping to go into like the final race of the season. Knot it up.
Whoa, you
It's
want to
all
make an
decided
actual
there.
championship instead of
Yeah,
like a Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, where you clinch it with like 5 to go.
yeah.
What's the All right. You almost did it one week. You're short one. What's the max points you could get? 5 for first, 3 for second is 8, 3 for
It's
third is
three.
11, 3 for
14,
fourth
15,
is 14.
17. So 17,
3
right?
for fifth is
Total.
17.
Yeah.
So so you would need a 17-point lead going in the last week to win.
And I'm
And
at
but like
20 now,
so
right?
multiply 17 by the number of races would be like the clinch 'em. So they'll
The
be like
clinch 'em.
they'll be like Max Verstappen, like he can clinch the championship, and then we're gonna have Alex Perez can clinch the Pick'em championship. Oh man.
We got to get Brooke on here next season or something to like
Oh
throw some more people in the mix.
oh you want to we should oh whoa you oh shoot okay first of all I just love what you just said. That's absolutely genius. Like because I fool around with I watch Game Day a little bit now because McAfee's on it. We could have a guest
Mm.
picker.
A guest picker, okay.
Um, and you want to throw a third person in here full time?
Uh, I mean, just for the pick, I'm down for a guest picker. But if we do a guest picker, are the points going to carry over from week to week to week? So every single separate guest picker, so that
Okay.
way they can end up paying total. So like you and I could technically lose all these randoms.
Okay, yeah. So I like that. So we can do a couple things. So it can be Alex, John versus all the guest pickers. Carter will
Hmm.
start talking next year. You bet. I'm really trying to get him to say go LH, Ryan. I'm trying hard. It was like go Lewis and then go LH. It keeps getting smaller for a baby. To try to teach him. So we can either do me, you, guest picker, or we could do me, you, guest pickers, and we could bring another person in full time, even if they just send us in their picks weekly.
Yeah, we can do that.
Um,
I'm down with that. I'm
I
down
don't
with
know
that
though. I kind
ladder.
of like what you're saying, like a guest picker every week.
I mean, if
And
you can find a guest picker every week, that's the only thing I'm worried about is like if maybe you miss a week or something. How do we alternate that? Or
well,
we could just have them type it up
really,
later on, I guess.
yeah. I mean, I'm probably if we get a guest picker, they probably won't come on every week. To be honest, we probably have to get them to a couple
No, I
weeks.
figured we can get them to just text and stuff like that. Like that's fine. But I'm just
Yeah,
worried. Like I'm just hoping that, like,
we don't
because
miss
I don't want to
any.
have the same people picking the entire time for the
Yeah,
guest picker
no.
too.
I
We
mean,
we got to find like 20 different people or something.
yeah. Well, I mean, listen. We have my dad. We have Brooke. We have Ryan. Mick will probably help us out. Um,
Carter.
not Carter.
We'll get
My
Carter to point at pictures.
definitely one of my brother-in-laws. Um, yeah, like
I could
Mick
probably get my
maybe.
my Anthony. Yeah, my buddy Ant watches a little bit.
Yo, shouts out Ant watches the Ant.
Yeah, he watched. What happened?
The Anthony watches.
Yeah, the Anthony watches. He watches
Yo, Ant,
occasionally.
what's
Yeah,
good?
he watches all Drive to Survive. I don't know if he watches. He watched a podcast a few times. Yeah, I know he has because he tells me that we have to fix our energy in the beginning because we sound too dead, and he
Yeah,
wants me to do
well,
like that fake YouTube personality thing. I'm not doing that. That is too cringe. I'm sorry.
hello everybody and
Don't
welcome
do
to the
that,
whole
please.
story.
That's what he wants. That's exactly what he wants.
Yeah. Well, Anthony, let me tell you something, buddy. Almost every week before we get on, we have good energy, and then we have 15 minutes of audio issues that totally brings down our mood. And now, to be honest, I just start the show with Alex. Are you ready? So, yeah. You know what, Anthony? If we don't have audio issues every week, dude, I'm coming in so hard next week. You wait.
There's
I
no
might
H
drop
in his
from the
name, Ryan.
ceiling somehow. You might see me come straight down.
It's up in the ceiling.
Oh my god. Yeah. So Ant could pick. Yeah. I think we can struggle to find 20, but we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Um. All right. Guest picker. I freaking love it, dude. I love it so much. That's such a good idea. Uh,
I
I
mean, we're
almost
gonna
want to
have
start
time
it
too
like
because
in
it's 11,
November.
11 months. 11 months. So they're not gonna have too many back-to-back races. So we could find time. We'll have time to like find somebody for the guest picking.
Yeah. I love it. Bad luck, Anthony. That's what Ryan said. Oh
And
man.
I saw
All
that.
right.
Yeah. There's no H in his name. It's Antony.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I would say Anthony with like a hard
Yeah. I
H.
think everybody would. His mother's from the island, so I don't think she spelled his name right.
Oh, gotcha. Well, listen, I know
Yeah.
all about people throwing a random H in your name that's not there, so I get it, Anthony. All right. All right. Well, hey, a lot of good vibes here. Um,
Solid.
all right, dude. I definitely got to go now, but
Same.
I'll see you next Monday.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Deuces.
Later. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great one. See ya. And the energy.